I'm Mike Benton for ThunderVision, and last year the Thunder went through the most successful season in franchise history, reaching the conference finals for the first time ever. A big step was taken today to retain that nucleus of last year's team when Craig Valette and Daryl Marcoux re-signed one-year contracts earlier this morning. The man who made all that happen is Thunder head coach Matt Thomas. And Matt, you have your captain and your alternate captain now back into the fold. What does it mean now for this hockey team?
Well, I think it's obviously pretty important parts to the whole operation to make sure you get a core of your leadership group together. Obviously, Craig Valette had his season shortened with a season-ending knee injury, and he's rehabbed. He's come along real well, and he's looking forward to get back. It's always nice to have a guy who's got a little bit of fire in his belly to make sure that he has a good season coming off an injury. And obviously, Daryl Marcoux, he's been a cornerstone of my teams now for 3 years, and this will be the fourth season. And you can't say enough about a guy who does all the things that a lot of guys don't like to do. He's a great guy in the locker room and off the ice. He carries himself like a professional, and he's certainly a guy that I'm looking forward to having back in the mix.
For as long as Craig Valette hung around this team last year, we often hear the words driven, physical, outspoken, usually associated with him. How did it help this team in moving along last season?
Well, you know what? I think more importantly, when Craig got hurt, I thought a lot of guys did a good job stepping up in his absence to take on more of a leadership role. And I think with him being around, more importantly during the playoffs, you really saw his passion for the team and for the game. And we got him on the ice a little bit there, helping out with practice and stuff, and make him feel like more of a part of it. But because he was our quote unquote leader of the team, and I think it was good for the guys to see him around, and he was saying a lot of the right things, keeping the guys in the right mindset, and he knew how special the opportunity we had in front of us, and it was good. It was good to have his voice just being around there, especially down the stretch running into the playoffs, and I think it just shows how much he cares about the Stockton Thunder and this team winning a championship.
What are your expectations with him now coming back from injury?
Well, obviously I expect him to be an elite player. I think that one thing about Craig Valette, he's a veteran, but he's a guy that I think has a lot more to prove to himself and to anybody in the game. I think he's a guy that can be an elite player night in, night out, and sometimes that comes with experience, and he's certainly got that. But I think if you asked him and you asked me, it's the same thing. We're looking for him to be a go-to guy in every situation and make sure that this team's heading in the right direction and has the right chemistry, the right group dynamic. And if he can do, almost all those things well, I think we're going to have a successful season.
With Daryl Marcoux, we often hear about the little things that he provides in the locker room and on the ice. As far as he is concerned this season, do you expect more from him or more of the same?
Well, more of the same to start, and then I think it's only natural that a player who becomes more and more comfortable in his game and understands what he needs to do well can add on and build on what he's already done. But I think Daryl's a guy who every year he gets better and better, and he makes less and less mistakes. And usually when you're a mistake-free hockey player, it ends up happening for you at the other end of the rink. And I'm looking for a guy like Daryl to be a big-time player for us in terms of a two-way game as a defenseman. He'll certainly be on my number one shutdown unit, playing against every team's top unit, being out there when the game's on the line in the last minute, and when we take a penalty, he'll be the first guy over the boards, and that won't change. But I certainly think there's opportunities for him to add to what already has been an impressive pro career.
What's the biggest difference in what you've seen in his game now than, say, versus 3 years ago when you first brought him on?
I think it's control. He's you like to call those types of players like a Charlie Hustle. He's never going to stop working, and sometimes you can work too hard or just work too energetic and be a little bit ahead of the play or not caught up to it enough. And for a guy like Daryl, I think the more and more he gets comfortable with what his game entails and how he needs to play it, the more and more effective he becomes. So he's a guy that I think has just progressed year to year in terms of being a player that you can count on in any situation. But sometimes there's always a player you put over the boards and you're a little bit nervous of what might happen. I hope he doesn't make that mistake. And Daryl's getting to the point where there's absolutely no worry at all, and you have no problem putting him out in any situation.